The Legend of Mare-Do-Well by JT2K. Chapter 8. Alright, children, don't stay too far, Cheerilee called out from the back of the group of school ponies. She was hurrying along. The Everfree Forest is much too dangerous for colts and fillies that aren't together. The field trip to Everfree had been in the plans for the weeks. Most parents were concerned about their children going off into such a dangerous place, with only Cheerilee as the sole adult. Those concerns were quickly removed, however, when the cerise-colored pony herself revealed that Sakura volunteered to help with the class, both to act as chaperone and as a guide through the less dangerous areas in the forest. With that taken care of, the trip was given the clear-all for the day.
Come along, dear children, and you will see all the wonders that can be found here in Everfree.
The Seahorse stated as she led them in front.
Stay close and do not stray, or else you'll be a predator's prey.
At this remark, some of the little fillies and colts looked around in fear. Miss Sakura, are we gonna be okay? We better be fine, or else Daddy's gonna be hearing about this, Dr. Tiara scoffed in contempt. I'll put a lid on it, DT. The last thing this trip needs is some whiny little foal ruining things for us. Don't call her DT. You'll address her by middle name. Miss Diamond Tiara Silverspoon's mouth was clenched shut by the foreleg of her associate, who gave her a loud sush. Ixnay on the earning day, she whispered through her teeth, which caused all the school ponies to giggle and laugh. The rest of the trip was quite educational for the small group, as they first saw a variety of strange plants, which Sakura helped explain in her traditional form of speech, and warned that some, despite her bright colors, are actually dangerous to consume, and are used more as ingredients in some hut-made concoctions. Stimson's snails were unlucky enough to step on an errant poison-choked flower, which stayed their respective sizes, made snips from its teeth 3 times their original size, and made snails speak in a rough dialect Cheerilee was able to fakely identify as the cold region of Stalingrad. Aside from causing a few fits of laughter from the students, Sakura was able to make a quick, drinkable antidote, and the 2 colts were back to normal, so to speak. Another point of interest throughout their journey was in encountering a variety of non-threatening denizens of the Everfree, like owlbears, jackalopes, phoenixes, rodents of unusual sizes, and golden hinds, which Sakura helped the colts and fillies introduce to from afar as to not disturb them. The fillies were amazed at seeing all these creatures in their natural habitat, and couldn't believe they lived in Everfree. Fortunately, with every time they found a spot to observe the animals, Featherweight, in the absence of his regular staffer and getting back to his origins, began snapping pictures of them all. Bright flashes alerted to them to the foreign presence, quickly scattered. It took the combined efforts of all the young colts to tackle and remove the camera from the small Pegasus's neck, and prevent it from ruining their field trip any further. Finally, the small excursion was nearing its end, as the school ponies and their chaperones laid down in a small clearing in the forest to have a small lunch before returning back to Ponyville. It was during this time, a certain trio of young fillies decided to enter a cave off the main path to see if cave exploring would earn them their carrying marks. Alphablu looked around the cold, dark cave, with only a lantern hanging around her neck that she brought along for emergencies to light her way. Sky, don't you think that this is a mighty bit out of our way? Sakura said to us to not stray far from the rest of the group. Besides, who knows what scary stuff we'll find in here? A dragon? Fleeing nurses? I don't even want to know. Well, now who's being a chicken? The orange Pegasus replied, only to call out the same monkey tone she heard from the farmer filly a year ago. Apple Bloom! Apple Bloom! No fire! I thought we no longer do that to each other. The farm filly snapped in return. Then stop being a scary pony. I'm sure we can find something cool in here to both get a good grade on our Everfree essay and earn our key marks at the same time. Sweet Belle stayed quiet during the whole argument, as her eyes looked on with worry. I don't know, girls. This seems awfully risky. Don't you think we should have asked Miss Cheerilee or Miss Sakura about this? Won't they end up looking for us? Look at the tension! The tension's Smith tension. Where's your sense of adventure? Rainbow Dash never allowed anything such as rules to get in the way of her thrills. Scootaloo beamed loudly. I heard my sis said that's how she got bugged at flat school, Apple Bloom whispered to Sweetie Belle, causing the little unicorn to get a giggle for a few seconds. After walking a few more feet, they eventually reached the edge of the cave. Nothing. The cave itself was empty. Only a few stalactites and stalagmites poking out of the roof and walls, but nothing else. What? All three shouted simultaneously. You dodo! Now we're going to get to taste it for sure. Apples are crowning by making me Granny Smith's fields reserve for her. Apple Bloom shouted as he turned to face her. Don't call me a dodo. I bet you like it if I called you a chicken. Scootaloo stepped back. Dodo, chicken, dodo, chicken, dodo, chicken, dodo, chicken. The two hungry fillies kept up their name calling, going, and didn't look to finish for a while. Sweetie Belle, meanwhile, could only sigh sadly as he approached one of the stalagmites near the dead end, leaning against it as he tried to come up with what to tell her parents, a rarity. The stalagmite suddenly bent backward with a loud click. The small sticks of the wall slid out of the way to reveal a secret passage. The two fillies stopped arguing as they stood there with their mouths open, just like Sweetie was. The stalagmite was obviously a cleverly disguised handle that would reveal the passage if pushed. The tiny unicorn moved away from the stalagmite handle as it snapped back in position. On cue, the wall slices slid back and let the passage hit into the eye. That was so awesome! I knew this cave had something! Scootaloo said with glee as he pushed the stalagmite as hard as her little body could muster, and the wall opened up again. She stood there holding the door open as he saw her friends just look on in shock. Come on! Hurry! This door won't stay open forever. Go ahead, I'll jump in after you. No way, Scoot. Not that your secret path wasn't built by nature, you know. We're getting up in serious trouble with whoever built it. Apple Bloom reasoned. She's right, Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle added. We should really get back before... Her explanation was cut short. She saw a shadowy figure leap out of the passage. Immediately let out a shriek. The other Cutie Marker stairs followed suit in shrieking as the figure moved in over them. Outside, back in the clearing, the Cora's ears began to flick and stopped from eating her meal as she turned her head around. Shirley looked at her curiously. Mr. Cora, are you all right?
My auditory sense picked up a yet.
The deceiver began as her eyes scoured the students before her. She didn't gasp, seeing one picnic blanket was laying there, with some leftovers still placed on top.
Where is Apple Bloom? Scootaloo is Sweetie Belle.
All the other students stopped to realize the Cutie Marker stairs were nowhere to be seen. Oh no, this is very bad. Where could they be? Shirley lamented as he ran out the area, calling out their names. Serves those three right. They're always making trouble. Diamond Tiara scorned with a raise of her snoot. I mean, we all knew they were the ones that released icky discord for that statue by fighting in front of it. This is not true. This is some nasty women that somebody said. Twist answered back, which immediately caused all the students to debate both sides of the issue, whether the Cutie Marker stairs were troublemakers or not. The argument ceased when a slight tremor was felt by everyone. They all looked down on the floor and felt another tremor, followed by many more. They looked up and saw a large figure stood before them, causing all the school fillies to scream in terror and began to run around in panic, as terribly as the Cora could stare up at this new threat without a clue what to do. The silence of the forest was broken by the full screams, followed by loud roars of unknown origins. Eventually, the screams began to die down. The eerie calm of the forest returned, with no witness as to what took place. Confound it! Why haven't you gone on a search for those missing fools? My Granny Smith is working herself into an early grave and you don't find them! Applejack said. Madame, stop all this nonsense, post haste! Or I shall fetch you to that uncharted forest out of my stealth to find my dear sister! Verity added with a hint of both anger and worry, as her father tried to console his mate.
We don't understand this. I'm a business pony, but also a concerned father. You all better find my little diamond tiara, or I will be forced to call the higher authorities.
Filthy Torres demanded as he slammed a hoof on the desk. Bugler could only get automatically rub her temples with her light red aura. She had been listening all night to the parade of ponies standing in, demanding to know why the school field trip was taking so long in getting back. At first, they sent a couple of officers, along with Twilight Sparkle, as he was one of the few to navigate Everfree and find answers at Sakura's domicile. Upon finding the hut empty, things began to turn grim. Citizens, please, settle down! As he finally ordered, she got up. The crowd of worried parents and families went quiet as Lieutenant Buckler began to explain. We have already sent out a ground search party with Miss Sparkle taking the lead, while an aerial team is flying across the area with the Ponyville weather manager Rainbow Dash to see if they can be spied from the sky. We will have answers very soon. In the meantime, you can feel free to stay in the festival or any nearby areas until either team returns with new developments. As she gently pushed the crowd away from her office, she closed the door and inhaled deeply. She really disliked facing worried families. However, her hopes were tied, and there was nothing she could do unless she was a few years younger when she was at the prime of her life. All she could do was the same as the families themselves. Wait. She turned around to her desk to be forcefully expelled the breath of air she just took in, and called soon after. At the side of her desk was Mare-Do-Well, standing at attention. You know, my dear pony, you're likely to give this old mare a heart attack one of these days. She sought to be reprimanded, like a mother to her foal. A few weeks ago, after the debacle involving a pair of shady business ponies who challenged the Apple family to a cider-making contest, Lieutenant Buckler began seeing the young crime fighter more and more as the paths both her and the PVPD crossed even more. Unlike Captain Halberd, who ordered most officers to apprehend Mare-Do-Well should she interfere with police procedures, most of the department appreciated her help. Buckler decided to form a type of truce with her in which she was always welcome to her office to visit, and help the police wherever they could. The only thing Mare-Do-Well had to watch out for when visiting her police ally, aside from Halberd, were her associates, Lock Up and Lock Down. Aside from being somewhere far away, they were known as irredeemable sycophants who catered to Halberd's every whim. No pony in the police department was safe from them, as they reported any such violation of the captain's strict rules to Halberd himself, which made all the officers see them in contempt and disgust. Lucky for her, the two lackeys were now around, so she could speak to Buckler without interference. I'm certain you heard of the missing group from the school, child. Buckler began as she sat near her desk and used her magic to move some of the papers on top until she found a report on the missing ponies. 15 young foals, 8 fillies, 7 colts. The school teacher, Miss Shirley, their guide, Sakura. For all in the fans like that is very unusual. More so with the zebra knowing everything about the forest. Maybe you should check it out and see what you can find. She turned around to face her. All she saw was an open window, and the blinds hitting against the edge of the sill, as though some pony recently moved it. Shaking her head, she muttered, That filly has the attention span of a parasite. While Mare-Do-Well enjoyed hearing Buckler's police tales, from both in her office and when she came by the Suki corner as her alternate self served her, she had no time to lose. Her sense could tell something was not right with this missing ponies report, and something was far more alarming and dangerous. Something very bad was happening in the Everfree. It was up to her to find out what it was. The vigilante made headway into the unnatural forest, and noticed several tracks on the forest floor. She studied each print carefully, eliminating any that wasn't a pony hoof. One particular trail was made of very tiny hoof prints. That was the lead she needed. Following the tiny path of hoof prints, which stopped at several areas, including a patch of different plants, an owlbear cave, a jackalope burrow, and a grove of phoenix nests on a tree. She finally arrived at a small clearing. She wasn't alone when she arrived at the spot as Twilight Sparkle and the 5 PVPD officers were investigating the area. The purple unicorn looked up to see her come through, as did a few of the other officers. Mare-Do-Well, why are you here? Did you come here and help with the disappearance? Twilight asked as she walked up to her.
We could always use a spare set of hooves and eyes to help us search, added Officer Goldwhistle. We've been searching this area for hours, and we found nothing. Keep searching, Pony. They just couldn't walk up and leave all the gear behind like this,
Officer Booker commented loudly. Ne'er-do-well looked beyond Twilight's gaze, and saw he was right. Lured throughout the clearing were a remains of what looked like a picnic, with some half-eaten fruit and snacks, along with some tiny saddlebags, which were now placed in a neat pile. Ne'er-do-well's brain began to turn. This was no mere disappearance, indeed. Something must have happened to the foals and the adults, and caused them to drop their meals before finishing and leave saddlebags behind. The question was, what could it have been exactly? She started to investigate. As she was walking through the area, she spotted a cave on the side of a mountain and stopped to stare at it for a few seconds. The purple unicorn immediately sensed her curiosity and approached her. That cave? We already searched it half an hour ago. Nothing there, and it leads to a dead end. She then sighed with annoyance as she called out to the officers. This area is a dead end. We have to search elsewhere. Hopefully we can find other tracks or clues to where these foals. Cheerily as Cora went. Let's move out. The officers nodded and advanced towards her to help lead them to another part of the forest. Wish you the best of luck. Let me know if you find something. The purple unicorn whispered as she finally left with the police ponies. Ne'er-do-well was all alone again. She was ready to head back into the forest when she started getting a feeling in her stomach as she thought about the cave. Twilight mentioned there was nothing in there, but it couldn't hurt to have a look in it herself, just to remove her doubts. She quickly turned back, trotted out towards the cave. Setting his foot inside the dark hollow, Ne'er-do-well realized he was a bit hasty in coming in without anything to light her path. The moonlight provided plenty of illumination, but only for the outside of the cave. Inside, she was blind as a bat. Taking her head low and about ready to go back to look for an empty lantern, she started to get another combo. Ear flop, eye flutter, knee twitch. She was puzzled by the sudden manifestation of her unique gift. There were absolutely no doors for her for her to look out for. So, why does he have the combo warning her about that? Her answer came soon enough as the sound of rocks sliding away was heard, and Ne'er-do-well saw to her unbelieving eyes part of the wall moving away, revealing a hole illuminated with soft torchlight. Her Ursel's sense had not failed her yet again. She then heard a foot of hoofbeats walking forward, followed by an incoming light source, with a couple of shadows projecting the wall nearby. Hiding behind a large stalagmite, she peeked to the side to see what was coming her way.
Now remember, take this notice directly to our local contact. I need help in moving all these prisoners out without attracting the attention of the police, and I don't want any screw-ups,
said a deep, bellowing male voice. Leave it to me, Big Time. All I have to do is avoid that speedy Pegasus they got in their weather control, and I'll deliver this no problem, said a shifting female voice, along with a flap of what obviously were wings.
Perfect. We got some grade A ponies right here. The youngest little twerp of the Apple family. That brat of multi-rich stallion who founded Barnyard Bargains, and even the son of the most important doctor of Ponyville. They all pay a dragon's hoard for them all.
What about the rest of the little imps? What of that broodmare of a teacher and that weird zebra?
I hear there's a market for young little ponies, and these would all make us a bundle when we sell them to the highest bidders. About that old mare, I'll leave her to Mr. P. He needs a new toy to play with. And as for the zebra,
He chuckled with cruelty.
let's just say it's been a while since Little Time had a taste of zebra.
You're a class act, Big T. You have fun then. I'll be back soon. Ne'er-do-well couldn't believe her ears. Grasping and selling off the foals, hurting mysteriously and doing the unspeakable to Zecora. She wanted right then and there to jump out and beat those monsters into unconsciousness. But she had to know first who exactly she was up against. She then saw the outline of a Pegasus filly with a saddlebag over her coming out into the light. Just by looking at her, Ne'er-do-well knew she was rotten to the core. She quickly tried up to the cave entrance, spread her wings, and flew off into the night sky. The vigilante turned her gaze back into the open entrance and saw the torchlight and the shadow quickly recede. The wall was closing up again. She didn't even think twice as she swiftly and silently jumped out of her hiding place and entered the passage before the wall crushed her as it moved back into place. She was now in a small, dimly lit passage with torches lined up against the cave walls. Up ahead, she saw the light and hoofbeats of Big Time, as the Pegasus called him. It was quickly fading into the distance. She was thankful she didn't hear him slip in. She quickly took slow, steady steps as she followed him through the passageway and towards a large, illuminated exit. She went through this new opening without hesitation. Words failed Mare-Do-Well as he tried to make sense of what was before her eyes. An entire underground facility was built right in the middle of the hollowed-out mountain, spread as far as the eye could see. Luckily, she was far enough away to not arouse the attention of the ponies wearing surgical masks who were busy walking around, carrying heavy loads with them with their bags, or hard at work cultivating some sort of shiny blue mushrooms that were glowing deep underground, giving off an eerie luminescence to their surroundings. Upon closer inspection, she closed her nose in disgust. Those were no ordinary mushrooms, and the ponies had good reason to wear masks. Glow caps. Her father once told her about these foul fungi, and Twilight helped with more details as he requested more information on botagens. Originally from underground caves deep in zebra and camel territories far from Equestria, shaman of those two tribes used the glow cap as an ingredient to communicate with a plane of existence they claim is where all creation comes from, and now all end up going. Pony explorers who visited these lands found these mushrooms and the effect they witnessed on the minds of those who consumed it, looking as they were now in a different world other than that reality. These explorers brought glow caps for equestrian scholars to experiment with. These effects, however, were not good for pony anatomy. A test subject who consumed an entire mushroom immediately entered a state of dementia, where various sensory hallucinations were recorded, ending with the subject becoming belligerent and needing to be subdued by some nearby guards. The pony immediately locked up, as he was a threat to Equestria should he ever be freed. Soon, other ponies began to smuggle in glow caps, with the hopes they could communicate with the ancients, and all ended up insane and in fits of psychotic violence. Even breathing in the spores of a glow cap was dangerous, so no pony could approach them without adequate protection like a surgical mask. Still, there were still some enterprising alchemists who decided to keep spores, trying to find ways to make the glow caps less dangerous, and ended up with the state as saints to provide quick trips to these strange sensations to the mind, and left the subject highly addicted to them. Because of the threatened addiction and deaths associated with it, Celestia deemed this mushroom a Class A botagen that no pony except licensed camel and zebra shaman should even touch. To think if the field trip group was pony-napped, the Cloaca controversy would have remained undiscovered, and their damage to Equestria could not be stopped. Mare-Do-Well didn't care what happened to her now. Both her missions were clear. Not only was she going to rescue the captured ponies, but she put a stop to this harvest of a disaster once and for all. But first things first, she had to find out where these fungi growers were keeping the foals, Shirley and Sakura. Carefully, and using what little shadows there were between the supply crates, cake crevasses, and even a few loading carts, she reached the far end of the glow cap harvest area, where there were less ponies walking around. Here, a large structure was hewn from the mountain's rocky wall that must house their living quarters was located. The only way into this area appeared to be a single entrance. That entrance, however, was guarded by the two burly-looking stallions, and were nearly as strong as big Magachas, standing guard at the sides. She first had to get rid of these two before she could gain access inside.
So, what do you think of those rugrats the boss got locked up in the stockade?
One of the guards asked his companion.
Yeah, knowing him, he's got big plans for him. He go big time for nothing.
The other guard responded with a chuckle.
So damn boring standing here doing nothing. I wish I could have gone to the nearby town and get loaded on Sun Sire. Flyby got lucky being the boss's air fillet.
The first guard muttered.
Yeah, right. When we come back, we'll be said to be playing with Mr. P as punishment.
Snapped his partner.
Don't even joke about that, dude. I never even want to be near that freak.
The other snored as he returned to his watch.
Ow! What the heck was that for?
The second guard shouted as he rubbed his ear, was now carrying a large red bruise.
What did I do, huh?
The first answered in confusion.
You hit me in the ear, that's what. Stop horsing around.
The other reprimanded. The guard just shrugged, wondering the presence of being there was doing nothing but stand ahead, was getting to his fellow sentry. His thoughts were growled by a sharp stinging pain that came from his ear, as though something was flicked with force against it.
Hey, dude, this isn't funny anymore. Just stop it!
He shouted to the other guard, who just looked at him oddly.
What's the matter? Glowcat's starting to mess with your brain already?
The other guard scoffed, only to yell in pain again.
Alright, playtime's over, Mr. Comedian. Time I'll show you how we really do things back home.
With a loud whinny, the second guard turned back and gave the first a hard kick against his head. He responded with an angry snort, blasting hot air everywhere.
You started. Now I'll end you!
He shouted as he charged on the other guard. Both guards started to fight with one another, butting heads, pucking kicks, rearing up to hit with their forelegs and full body tackle. One particular simultaneous tackle from both stallions ended up hitting their heads against one another, and with a resounding crack, and the two immediately landed on the floor unconscious. Mare-Do-Well looked from behind the large stalagmites he was hiding behind, as a couple of pebbles were being tossed away with one of her hooves. She was lucky the guards were known these seasons, or else he never got away from them. Once the way was cleared, she ventured inside. The living area was more complex than he realized, as there were many hallways with doors lined up everywhere, not to mention several unfriendly ponies and fillies wandering about. She reached a secluded alcove. She allowed herself to lie down on her haunches and started to meditate. Fletcher Sai taught her that deep meditation was done by pony monks located in the far eastern areas of Equestria in order to heighten their senses. And at this point, she needed all her senses on high alert and locate the one she was searching for. As she meditated, she could feel her nose catching strange scents, and her ears flicked around as they heard everywhere. She could smell the disgusting aroma of smoked loco weed, the mossy, damp scent of the structure walls, and even the smell of fresh baked apple goods. However, she paid more attention to her ears. She started to hear a variety of noises. Music from phonographs, unintelligible conversation from the walls of the rooms around her, and even the sounds of the unspeakable that should only be done by only done by two ponies who love each other very, very much. However, she then heard the most important sound of all, crying. She was hearing the crying of the foals who missed their families and loved ones. The sound of her older self would do anything in her power to stop. Needless to say, there was no flower around to stop this crying. She had to take a more hooves-on approach. She got out of the alcove and followed her ears towards the sound of the sobs. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw what was obviously a stockade, built with wooden boards, but strewn with barbed wire everywhere, to prevent anyone from breaking in or out of it. Trapped all inside, all huddled close to another, were the 15 fillies and colts she was looking for. Fortunately, there was no sign of Shirley or Sakura inside, and Mare-Do-Well feared they were in trouble, according to the conversations he eavesdropped earlier, particularly the one dealing with this Mr. P. So he approached the stockade, and was thankful no pony was guarding him. As soon as he was filled, and the unicorn filly called out,
"Look! It's Mare-Do-Well! Mare-Do-Well's here!"
That immediately got the attention of the rest of the children. They all got close enough to the holes between the small logs, side of the stockade wall, without touching the pointy edges of wire in front of them.
Miss Mare-Do-Well, please, you gotta save us!
She just called out.
"Yes, you must!
My daddy will give you a huge reward if you get me out of here.
Diamond Tiara wailed, with bloodshot eyes from all her wailing she must have done.
Something yourself, DT. She came in here to rescue all of us, not just you.
School snapped at her.
Don't call her DT. She's... never mind.
Silver Spoon only started to sigh sadly, and slumped down on her rump.
Shouldn't Mare-Do-Well go look for Miss Shirley and Mr. Cora first? I mean, they're the adults here, huh?
Muttered Snails, and everyone for once agreed with what he said. Mare-Do-Well cursed herself for being unable to talk, but her determined gaze was more than enough to let the no foals knew what she was thinking.
"You wanna know where they took Miss Shirley and Mrs. Cora to Miss Mare-Do-Well?"
Sleep Bell deduced. Eventually, she closed her eyes, and nodded thankfully for one of the young unicorn's rare flashes of brilliance.
Well, I have a faith that Miss Tilly was to go play with Mr. P, and that was gonna take the glow path.
Swiss commented with fear.
I'm sure I don't like to say a damn word too much. And I heard that Van Stallion with the big one for cutie mark said he was going to give Sakura the time of her life.
So Apple Bloom said with worry in her tone.
Miss Mare-Do-Well, you can't open the door unless you got the key, and that Van Stallion must have it. Please bring back Miss Shirley and Sakura, then open the door, please.
Featherweight piped up. The rest of the foals and heroine were shocked to hear the normally tattooed cult speak. While the inner child and her older self wanted to free them first and help them escape, she knew that the kids would not abandon their teacher and their new zebra friend. She made silent pleading promise with them in emotions, and they all understood it. She quickly left without a moment to lose. She made her way through the twisting hallways and avoided the unfriendly locals. Mare-Do-Well rounded yet another corner and immediately dove back before she was spotted. An earth pony stood there, peeking through a small slit in the door in the hallway as she was about to head into. Normally, she'd take a different route and go around this obstacle, but immediately heard a familiar voice. No, I don't care how much you hurt me. I'm never going to set a bad example for my little ponies and take those awful mushrooms. Go ahead, do your worst. I have my dignity to uphold. The cold at the door merely chuckled as the sound of leather-smacking flesh was heard, followed by a wail of pain from Shirley. The crime fire was outraged at how the faithful and kind school teacher was being tortured to teach the young dangerous fungus. This time Mare-Do-Well got her hose dirty. She softly crept up to the door from the angle that the peeping colt was not seeing her. Once she got close enough, she immediately grabbed him, covered his mouth as she placed him in a chokehold. Struggling was useless for the voyeur, as he quickly lost consciousness and landed softly on the floor. With her first foe incapacitated, Mare-Do-Well quickly pushed him into the shadows, so nobody could find him and alert the boss. Now it was her turn to peek inside. She saw in front of her chill her bones. Shirley was tied in an upturned table of sorts, with leather belts holding her by the forehead and all four of her legs. Her entire moderate cerise body had large bloody bruises and welts, both her mane and tail were ragged and stained with dirt. Her eyes were bloodshot red from all the tears and cries she must have endured ever since her capture. She was indeed a role model for the youth of Ponyville. Mare-Do-Well feared she would rather die than take a botanist and ruin her life and body to the dangers of addiction and glow-capped madness. That's when she laid eyes on the other occupant of the room, obviously called Mr. P, and her eyebrow arched in confusion. Standing there was a strange lanky stallion, wearing some kind of full-body outfit made of black leather and covered entirely in tubes. Not to mention it was very baggy, and loose on his skin, which made him trip with every step he took. On his head he wore an unusual mask that covered his face and mane, but with holes for his purple eyes and green snout. The only part of his body that was visible was a grazing cut-tail hair, and was dirty inside of green. Just looking at the stranger made the vigilante's flesh crawl. But why did the skullfoals and even the guards fear him? In his fellow's mouth, the stallion had a leather handle attached to a cat-o'-nine-tails whip, which he just used recently on the helpless schoolteacher.
Mr. P ask again. You take glue cap now?
The skinny stallion said with a slow, almost simple-minded voice. Shirley turned her head slightly away at revulsion.
Goody, goody. If Pony don't take glue cap, Mr. P play with Pony.
He derped out as he dropped out the whip onto the floor and walked to the table close by. A variety of leather implements and sharp objects were kept there, and the crime fighter didn't want to imagine what they would do to pony flesh. The childlike stallion lifted what looked like a scalpel, with a rusted, jagged blade in his teeth, and approached Shirley, whose expression now showed pure terror. Then he used the hoof to move a wheel handle nearby, lowered the table to place a chaser on her back. Mr. P moved up to the panic-stricken pony as he slowly lowered his scalpel towards one of her eyes.
Mr. P play doctor now. First, Mr. P remove eye, and give new eye to Pony.
He guffawed as he leaned closer to listening to her scream for intervention from the princesses. Mare-Do-Well was done waiting. She had to act now. Slipping in undetected, she made her way up to the slow-witted Mr. P's blind side and made her move. With one lower strike, she tripped the stallion, and he dropped the scalpel to the floor. It was caused Charlie to scream out of shock, not giving him time to recover as he lay down on the floor. She contented with a massive smash of her rump over his head and silenced him for good. The vigilante quickly raised Verley's restraints. The first thing the teacher did upon being set free was hug her safer.
Mare-Do-Well, thank you.
She finally cried out as tears ran down her eyes. She then gasped as she shook the vigilante with her bloodshot eyes. My students, are they? A single nod from the vigilante as she took a deep breath of relief.
Oh, thanks, Celestia, they're all right.
She gasped again.
Sakura!
Oh no, that brute! The leader of this whole gang of evil ponies has her. Who knows what vile things he has planned for her? Please, you must save her. His room is located at the far end of the hallway.
You can't miss it. Make haste!
Mare-Do-Well didn't need to be told twice. Quickly walked off, only to stop. She couldn't leave her here with that strange stallion, even if he was passed out cold. He looked at her with worry in her eyes. Cheerilee merely shook her head. I'll be all right. Please hurry. Once you find Sakura, come look for me here, and I'll join you in the escape. Go! Taking the directions the teacher gave her, she finally found the door she was looking for, as she peeked out from a shadowy spot near the side. She frowned, seeing that unlike the other doors in the area, this one was flanked by 2 more guards, who stood at attention at both sides of the doorways. There's no way her pebble trick from before would work on these 2. She had to use a different kind of pebble on them. She was lucky to have one in her utility bags. Reaching in, she found a sleeping gas pellet. She frowned as she saw she only brought 1. She still had plenty of smoke bombs left, but the sleeping one was all she needed. She got into position and tossed a small ball at them. The stallion saw the incoming pellet, but the small spear quickly released its payload before they could sound the alarm. After coughing for a few seconds, they quickly fell down and began to snore loudly. Her ears then picked up a loud thud, as though something hit against the door from the inside. What happened in there? Luckily, her magic was made with a magic filtering device over the snout that would prevent anything except oxygen from entering her nostrils, so she walked right through the cloud of sleeping gas without feeling the slightest of drowsiness. Verity was indeed a genius.
Let it go, Stia!
Mare-Do-Well placed her hoof on the door and pushed to open it, only to feel something large and heavy leaning up against it. She then turned around and gave the door a solid buck that would make even Applejack proud. The door flew open as she did whatever it was holding the door closed, and ventured inside. The first thing she saw in that foul stench-freaking room was the unconscious form of Big Time. A fatty fur pony with a dirty brown coat, badly styled light brown mane and tail, with tan highlights, and a bag of big coins for his mark. The overweight stallion was leaning in at a very unnatural angle from the door, from where he landed, after Mare-Do-Well kicked the door open. On his dirty, grimy bed was a faithful image of Sakura, who had shackles placed on her four hooves to prevent her from removing. She immediately let out a content sigh.
I thank you, my friend. You came just in time. This foul glutton was about to do an unspeakable crime. The nerve of this hog to use me as a broodmare. But you used sleep gas. Now he just lies there.
Mare-Do-Well nodded once and tipped her hat forward.
Now there's not a moment to spare. If he should wake, a foul fate we all share. The keys to release my bind are behind you. They will certainly open the jail where the foes are kept too.
Just like she said, Mare-Do-Well found a key ring with several keys that were placed on a table next to the door. Seeing as she was with an ally who knew her identity, she softly raised her mask a few inches to reveal the pink snout and the lips of Pinkie Pie. With her mouth exposed, she picked up the key ring and promptly spat it back out.
Yuck! This tastes horrible,
she said softly. Then she shook her head again.
Little silly Pinkie, you must remember, do this for your friends.
The costumed pink pony retook the key ring with her mouth and made her way to the bed. After eliminating a few of them, she found the one that unlocked the shackles, and the zebra was able to jump out of bed and stretch her legs.
At long last, I am finally free. You're truly a friend to me. Now Let's go round up Charlie and the others. We must return them all to their fathers and mothers.
Pinkie gave a nod in agreement, and looked at her as she scratched the back of her head with a hoof.
Can you take the keys now? I don't want them to, you know.
Zebra chuckled once.
Yes, don't fear. Get them here.
Not in relief, Pinkie spat the key ring out, and Sakura caught it in midair. She quickly placed the mask fully back on, and Mare-Do-Well was back in form. The two equines made their way out of the room and through the halls again. As they retraced their steps, they were lucky to find no more meandering ponies around, was made to return to the locked room where Charlie was currently entranced, all the more smoother. Mare-Do-Well tapped the door softly, but loud enough for the occupant to hear, followed by Sakura whispering,
Charlie, it is us. We have no time to waste. The evil ones will find us soon, so we must make haste.
Oh, thank goodness.
The teacher finally whispered back in joy as she opened the door. Mare-Do-Well peeked inside momentarily and saw Mr. T was still unconscious, but now tied up like a steer at a rodeo. How Charlie managed that, she didn't want to know. They all had more important things to worry about anyway. The trio of females then made their way back to the stockades. Upon de-entering the area, Charlie called out softly,
My dear students, are you all right?
All the 15 foals then peeked out from the areas between the logs and gasped with joy. Very soon the door was unlocked, and 15 school ponies were finally free, and quickly hugged their teacher.
Miss Charlie, you're safe! I told you all Mare-Do-Well would never let us down.
Miss Charlie, are you okay? You don't look so good.
All I say, little ponies, is to always resist the urges of evil ponies who will want to use botagens. Let this be a lesson. Just say no. So he stated, and every pony present nodded in agreement. Diamond Tiara then grew impatient.
Can we just leave this place now? I want to go home and snuggle in my bed and forget this ever happened.
For once, and I'm scared, I totally agree with you, Scootaloo remarked with shock.
But isn't there a lot of those nasty ponies still out there? How do we leave this place?
Twist suddenly said, which immediately weighed heavily on every pony present. She was right. The ponies working on the glow-cap harvest fields were still out there. How could 15 foals manage to escape under their noses? It was quite a predicament, and the foals got scared again. Mare-Do-Well finally broke the silence with a loud stamp of her back hoof. And then she started to tap her forehoof against the floor continuously. Every pony was confused for a second, until Charlie finally realized what she was doing. Oh my! Course code! I haven't heard a message like that since I was a filly. She stated as she closed her eyes to translate the taps. Do not fear. Stop. I will create a diversion. Stop. Escape and summon what? PVPD? Oh, the police! Go on. Bring them quickly. Stop. Charlie grew worried, as did the rest of the students, and even Sakura. What was Mare-Do-Well missing from this equation that has everyone now scared? My dear, are you sure this is a good plan? You have no idea what this gang has hidden in the shadows. They have a monster! The teacher commented, which caused the foals to cower in fear.
When we entered the cave and found the secret way in here, that giant monster they got jumped out and captured me and the Crusaders,
Evelyn exclaimed. She and her friends held each other close.
And then, while we were all eating, he came out of the cave and captured us as well. It's so scary. Oh, me, DT.
Silver Spoon replied meekly, as he grabbed Diamond Tiara, only for the snooty filly to shove her away, giving her space. The vigilante shook her head again. Nothing mattered to her at the moment but the safety of the innocents. She began to crap out horse code again. Do not worry. Stop. Monster or no monster. I will help you escape. Stop. I am a hero. Stop.
Yeah, she's a hero. She has to save us. That monster doesn't stand a chance against Mare-Do-Well.
Sims cheered as did everyone else. Shirley and Sakura merely looked down at her in faith and nodded. Mare-Do-Well nodded in response, as he felt the fizzy feeling once more. With that, the entire group slowly made their way back to the front of the living complex. Upon exiting, they were all relieved the two guards were still out cold. Before they could count their blessings, a loud horn was heard from coming to the top of the living quarters.
All prisoners are escaping. All ponies present, Find him and capture him. I'll order you.
An irate big time shouted from a megaphone, whose announcement was heard throughout the facility. The jig was finally up, and the school pony started to panic and sob. Mare-Do-Well quickly stood in front of them, and looked down at them with a pleading gaze. This show of compassion was more than enough to stop them from their panic, and they could act with level-headedness now. Cheerilee quickly instructed, "Every pony, hide behind the large stalagmites over there. While Mare-Do-Well is out attracting their attention, we will escape and alert the authorities immediately. Are we all clear?" "Yes, ma'am!" They all replied wholeheartedly and scampered off to the rocks. Pleased with the results, Cheerilee turned to face Mare-Do-Well and Sakura. "Please stay alive, my dear. You mean so much to the falls now. Don't let them down," the teacher commented hopefully as she hid with her students. Now it was Sakura's turn to hide as well. Before she went in, she looked at the mirror and said,
"My friend, it is up to you. We will escape when we see your cue. You are strong and your heart is wide. We know that justice is always on your side."
With that, she was alone again. She wouldn't be that way for long, as several ponies began to converge her position from out in the harvest area and inside the living context. A mob of 20 ponies darted down at her, prevented her escape. Luckily, none of them saw Cheerilee, Sakura, and the 15 school ponies slip out. They were all too busy staring at the vigilante. That was a sign of relief for her. All she was to do was hold out until the police arrived. The question was how far Twilight and the initial search party were since seeing them earlier tonight. Either way, live or die, she had no regrets. The gang members suddenly became silent as two figures emerged from the living quarters, and they moved aside to let these newcomers pass. One was the furious Big Time, the other, Mr. P.
"So, you're the Mare-Do-Well. You think you're some big hero, don't you, little filly? Ha! Don't make me laugh."
The bloated figure spat out.
"You think you could stop me? You have no idea how far my influence is. You worthless excuse of a broodmare. So the prisoners escaped. Big deal. May have lost my chance of earning both lots more bits on the side and having my way with that zebra. But I got my eye on a bigger prize."
He then chuckled maliciously, as did every pony else surrounding her.
"You see, you're worth more to me than any pony else, since word throughout the crime circuits is that whoever manages to kill you is automatically given a position of high respect in many places. Heck, your head on a pike is the perfect gift to bring to the boss of the Griffin Syndicate. My initiation will be guaranteed. I'll become the biggest glow cap producer in all of Equestria."
Mare-Do-Well could only stare with ferocious intensity at the gang leader.
"Now, it is time for you to have some playtime with Mr. P."
He said with a smirk as he and the other gang members suddenly moved away from the area, leaving her alone with the lanky, dim-witted, leather-clad stallion.
"You give Mr. P owie. Mr. P mad. Mr. P crush you,"
he proclaimed in his weak voice. Mare-Do-Well merely shook her head. The pony had been beaten before without a sweat, and she could again. That was her first mistake. Mr. P then gritted his teeth, and growled as the tubes began to glow. She then could spot some kind of bright purple liquid glowing through the tubes, and entered the lanky figure, as it began glowing a dark purple color. Big Time talked about during display.
"Mr. P has what you call a gift."
His eyes began to change color from purple to dark red.
"A kind stallion offered me a generous deal in exchange for a batch of glow caps he needed for some sort of experiment."
His eyes and body suddenly began to expand, as pure muscle began to form and grow out of his bones.
"I thought that monocle princely sissy was a few baskets short of a gold clap harvest."
His newly muscled body soon filled out the forming baggy outfit. It was a miracle of fashion that it managed to stay on, despite all the muscle bulging out even further. He was now basically a good 10 feet tall, and a force to be reckoned with.
After showing me some of his results, I knew that stallion was up to something, and I wanted in on it.
To her surprise, he began to grow more and more in height as he became taller and taller with each second.
Instead of a generous portion, I gave one whole season as harvest. In return, he gave me this prototype, Mr. P.
Mare-Do-Well could simply stare upwards as she sat down on her haunches. She was no longer looking at a pony. She was now looking at a behemoth, about the size of Ponyville Town Hall, with a heavily muscled frame and all four legs to match. The head, however, remained small and tiny, but his eyes were now a deep red color and growled like a wild beast. She finally realized his first form was what the formerly captured foals and adults saw earlier. Now she was standing there in front of his fully powered up form. The enormous Mote pony, Mare-Do-Well, and every pony were like bugs, and one particularly bothersome one was about to get squished.
Remember, Mr. P, do what you will to Mare-Do-Well, but leave her head intact. It's my proof to get into the Griffin Syndicate.
Big Time sneered as all his subordinates ran further away from the incoming carnage.
Time to play.
Mr. B. Pony.
He bellowed in a deep, booming voice, several octaves lowered in sound. He reared up with a loud roar and slammed his host down on the floor, which shook the entire mountain, making a few tiny stalactites hanging in the ceiling fall, missed some of the gang members by a few inches. Mare-Do-Well did what any pony meeting a monster bent on ending her life would do. She ran. She nimbly jumped over the wall of gang ponies and leaped through the wall of the pike side that prevented her from escaping. The ruffians were now in the path of an unstoppable force, who had nothing but crushing Mare-Do-Well on his mind. The ponies with enough common sense beat a hasty retreat with their hooves and wings, while others were knocked off their feet and sent flying everywhere. As she ran towards the exit, a thought entered her mind. If that monster was still around when the police ponies arrived, it would be a catastrophe. She had to get rid of him before they came out, but how? Finding him was just useless, and it was far too big to attack on her own. It was far too dangerous to stay in the cavern. If Mr. P went berserk in this form, there would be a cave-in, and every pony would perish. A cave-in. Mare-Do-Well knew what she had to do. She hated ending some pony's life, but the monster had to be vanquished one way or another. Picking up speed, she ran headfirst into the gold-cap field.
No!
Big Time yelled in anger as Mr. P squashed and crushed the gold-cap crop in his mindless pursuit of Mare-Do-Well, as all the spores exploded into the air. Her in the area of glowing blue mist, she shouted all to the ponies present.
I'll there, get in there and save the harvest before that peanut brain destroys it all.
Every pony present immediately looked at each other and began to slowly back away as their ears and tails failed.
I command you, save the harvest or you'll be playing with Mr. P next.
The beast stallion roared.
Fuck you and your harvest. You think we're going out there risking turning into pony pancakes? Or going crazy from inhaling all those spores flying around there? You don't need them damn club pass to prove you're insane!
Shouted one of the unicorns, as he and the rest of the gang members stampeded through the exit out of the grotto. Big Time just stood there, shaking his head as his brain froze and tried to say a word, only for none to come out. The unicorns were right about one thing. Glowcat spores were about as deadly as consuming one entire mushroom, and no pony had the protective circle mass on hoof, and they were all now contaminated from being soaked in spore mist out in the fields. Mare-Do-Well was thankful for Rarity once again for the magic filter that prevented the spores from entering her body. She kept running around the deadly big mist. Mr. P, however, was not as fortunate. Every second he stayed there, he breathed in more and more spores, and with a body as big and thick as he was now, it was needed a large amount of spores to affect him. At long last, she then heard him let out a deep, booming whinny consumed in fear.
No, no more Mr. Spiders. Mr. P hates spiders. Spiders evil. Help Mr. P. Mr. P is crippled. Mr. P is crippled.
He shouted at the top of his voice, as his eyes began to show a deep glowing blue swirl that looked continuously in them. The first sign of glowcap madness. just as Mare-Do-Well was waiting for. Monster's Pony began to lift his legs up and stomp continuously on the cave floor, shaking the very foundations of the underground hollow as the ceiling began to crack. Stalactites began to shake loose from above and began to destroy everything in the chamber. The living quarters were smashed to rubble, and several crates containing tools, provisions, and gold caps for export were also crushed by the debris. Even the ceiling began to show more visible fissures. It would not stay up for long. That was Mare-Do-Well's cue to exit the cave as he ran down the passageway leading to the outside. Big Time finally snapped out of his stupor as he saw his life's work being destroyed before his eyes. Insane with great trauma, he ran up to the crazed Mr. P and shouted at him,
Stupid leg, you're destroying everything. I should have left you with that quack of a doctor when I had the chance. You're nothing but a big, overgrown loser,
he thundered as he stomped the ground, shaking his molds of fat like jelly. Mr. P couldn't help but hear the tiny squeaks of Big Time, even though he wasn't under the effects of the glow cap madness. Then he looked down with his glowing, swirling eyes and saw the fat brown pony. However, his eyes began to form a different shape in his glow cap out of mind. One with enormous 8 legs, 6 eyes, and fangs looking up at him. Mr. P shrieked at the best of his new voice and lifted his leg in the air.
Mr. P hates spider. Spider could squeeze,
he bellowed. Big Time's last sight was seeing the behemoth's enormous leather-clad hoof hitting right for him. Mare-Do-Well made it all the way outside as the mountain and ground nearby started to shake. To her surprise, she saw Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, and Sakura, as well as a couple other dozen PVPD officers all assembled outside. Twilight must have found the foals and adults in the Everfree some time ago. And while the Ponyvillians headed home, Sakura stayed with them as more backup arrived. These officers were currently lined up in a circle, as gang members who escaped earlier were fenced in by this formation, or kept from running away. Mare-Do-Well, are you all right? What's going on in there? The purple unicorn asked, exasperated, as they all tried to keep their balance on the shaking ground. Look, there! Rainbow Dash shouted from the air as he pointed towards the mountain. Every pony present saw the top of the mountain start to sink below, followed by the upper areas of the peak, as they all felt a loud boom. A heavy dust cloud blew out this new volcano, and the earthquakes finally stopped. Vanzalante closed her eyes and lowered her head. She hated to end somebody's life like that, but Mr. P was far too dangerous, an unwilling victim of whoever Big Time mentioned was the got him from. Whoever that monocle prissy sissy, as the abyss ganglia referred to him, she was going to personally stop him from his beastly experiments. All she had to do was wait. Hey, Kudos, with you? I don't know. That does sound like something I would try. But thank you for the idea.
So, how are all the folks doing? I bet they were so sad with Jerry in the hospital.
Pinkie mused as he played with the Cake twins in the nursery, and took a cute corner as Twilight stood nearby. You were lucky you got her out when you did, Pinkie. If this Mr. P was bad as you and she claimed, she could have lost an eye, or worse. So the doctor's merely healing all the superficial wounds that he had received. Her unicorn friend explained. In the meantime, I found it quite enjoyable to be her substitute teacher until she got better.
I bet you're already wishing she would be back, since you're making them read whole books for homework.
Pinkie Pie chortled, which caused Pound and Pumpkin to giggle on cue. Hey, I read 5 whole books each day when I was a little filly. They're fun. I mean... She then blushed, which caused the pink pony and her baby accomplices to laugh again. However, Pinkie's laughter soon turned to a sad sigh, which made the babies frown with worry.
I just think back over that poor Mr. P and Big Time. Sure, they were a bunch of older bad weenie pants, but they were still ponies. I mean, I caused the Keaton that killed them. I feel the same as myself. I broke rule number 2.
Actually, Pinkie Pie, a few days ago, while the police and guards on loan for Camelot were digging through the mountain crime scene for any other evidence, they found the leader, the other gang members identified as Big Time, hiding under some rocky debris. Funny thing, too, he was mumbling incoherently about not wanting to squish any bugs as long as he lived. Pinkie Pie's eyes lit up as she stared at her friend.
And what about...
"Oh, cute," Twilight replied. Then as they dug deeper, they found a strange green pony with purple eyes and a torn leather mask around his face. The poor stallion was so mentally deficient, it was impossible to file charges on him, so we transferred him to the Possible Psychiatric Ward. Hopefully, they would help him adjust to life there.
He's alive! He's alive!
Pinkie shouted with glee, and the twins clapped happily as he hopped around in circles. Twilight was confused by the turn of events. Why would Pinkie be happy for a criminal that they nearly killed Shirley, turned into a monster that would have killed them all? She didn't want to know, and just talked it up for Pinkie being glad that she didn't kill any pony.
I gotta go now, Twilight. I gotta prepare for a party at the hospital. Hopefully, you know who won't be needed for a while. Get you?
The pink air fairy said as she slipped out of the room and down the stairs. Her unicorn friend merely rolled her eyes and gave her a warm smile. She had done so much for Ponyville, and this time, and Mare-Do-Well deserved a break now and then. Analysis Report 422. Title: Fall of Prototype. Sad to hear the prototype was put out of commission. Well, it was inevitable, as improvements were made to the formula strain soon after its debutment after the original faulty strain. Aforementioned strain alpha greatly increased the subject's size and muscle tissue, but also caused rapid deceleration of brain intelligence, leaving him with the mental state of a yearling. Giving him to the corpulent glowclap grower was merely a way of being rid of such an inferior subject. Sequeeze's analysis of current news informed the prototype was defeated by a crime fighter known by the codename Mare-Do-Well by the authorities of the town of Ponyville not far away. The subject is of interest due to her recent accolades in stopping criminals, but a minor threat to the experiments currently conducted. Therefore, ratings shall be a simple Class A. Experimentations with formula strain Gamma shall reserve as more adequate subjects can be found. The legend of Mare-Do-Well trots along.